And away we go. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Stock Watch Sunday. I see some folks rolling in here. I'll give it a couple minutes, but I want to welcome you to Stock Watch Sunday. And this is Own the Chaos. My name is Brad, and what a crazy week it was this week. So let some folks roll in here. I'm going to welcome some folks in here. What's up, Alan, Bob, Samir? Man, it's so good to see you, Samir. O'Brien, good to see you. What's up, Beam Me Up? Kenneth Rosenberg, good to see you. Welcome, folks. Just going to give it a minute or two. And I got some really good stuff coming up for you. So a really busy week this week. We're going to get into all of that. It's going to be a really jam-packed Stock Watch Sunday. But first, let me get the pleasantries out of the way. First of all, hi, my name is Brad, and this is Own the Chaos. The stock market is a crazy and chaotic place. I've made it my mission to help you own it. So if you want to see more content such as this, and get my live streams every Stock Watch Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, then please subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell. I put out videos throughout the week as well, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And yeah, if you guys get value out of this live stream, I certainly would appreciate it. And give me a thumbs up to help support this channel. Man, it's been crazy. We got 12,900 subscribers just before I went live here. 100 to go to 13K. Guys, it's been an amazing four or 5 weeks on my channel, and I have you to thank for that. This channel's been blowing up, so let's keep it going. Can we get to 20,000 subscribers before the end of 2020? That would be awesome. So what's going on? Let me welcome some more folks in here. What's up, Joe? Good to see you, man. Ivan, Internet Thug TV, what's going on? Let me start off by saying, what's going on, you cool cats and kittens? I have binge watched Tiger King, and let me just tell you something. We have Kenneth. We have Joe Exotic tuning in with us, in just a few minutes. So be on the lookout for that. You don't want to turn away. What's going on, Ivan? Good to see you. William, good to see you. Everybody, long-time listener, first-time poster. What's up, Savart? And I see that Savart is also a channel member as well. I see that's pretty cool looking member icon next to his name, which actually I'll go ahead and introduce you guys to that as well. If you guys want to get a watch list from me each and every day through YouTube, you can be a part of what I call the Chaos Crew. So for $4.99 a month, you're part of the Chaos Crew, and I put out a watch list every day before market open. I give you some various supports and resistances, and these are going to be for day trading purposes, of course. Where Stock Watch Sunday is a little bit of everything, and really the channel is a little bit of everything, but the day trading watch list is going to be there every morning for you. If you want to go check that out, click the join button on my channel, and yeah, would love to have you be a part of the Chaos Crew. So lots of people have been joining, and it's been pretty awesome. Again, just supports this channel, and then also I get to help you out as well, give you a little value back. So what's up, King Bradicus? Good to see you. Big fan in Green Bay. What's up, Dave? Good to see you, man. Tiger King was the most dysfunctional BS I've ever seen in my life. That's absolutely true. Speaking of dysfunctional, I had a couple people miss out on Stock Watch Sunday last weekend, and I wanted to go over some of the things that we actually went over last week and see how they turned out. Johnson & Johnson I talked about last week. I said that they beat earnings. Beat them, they did. Estimated earnings were at 206. They beat them by 230, so I was right about that. When I talked about it on Stock Watch Sunday, it was priced at 141, ended up 153 highs this week. So that was an amazing trade. Anybody who was able to get into that, congrats to you. ABT, there was another one that I said that they would beat. I actually was wrong about that one. They missed it by a penny, so not too far off. Also said this probably wouldn't matter and that the stock would continue to go up because of all the testings that they were administering out on the Rona. Turns out I was right about that. 84.86 was my price target for that as far as an entry was concerned. Went all the way up to 97.75. So huge green trade. If anybody got into ABT, congrats to you on that. Bank of America, this was a tricky one. I said that they'd miss earnings, and of course they did. That was kind of a no-brainer, right? Estimated earnings was around 50 cents. They missed them by 40%. 40 cents. They missed them at 40 cents per share was their actual earnings per share. I said it's still a buy, and I still think that's true. They actually fell a little bit below $24. I think they came down to around 21 or so. I think Bank of America is still definitely a solid play as they get through all the stimulus stuff. They still said that they have a lot of their workforce still employed. A lot of them are working from home. We saw this from a lot of the big banks, right? I think it was Goldman Sachs, I think, said 98% of their workforce is working from home, and people were still working, and they're still able to support all their trading activity and everything else. It was amazing. Many other ones had 70% working from home. So all the banks, I still think the banks are going to be good as long as they got good balance sheets, and they're still getting stimulus cash to keep everybody afloat, and they still got people working for them. I think that's fine. And finally, Zoom. Zoom, I said, was a buy below 125. It actually briefly fell below 125 on Monday and never looked back. Highs of 157.30. So you missed out on Stock Watch Sunday last week. It is what it is. I think a lot of people gave me a hard time, but I actually asked Joe, and Joe actually missed Stock Watch Sunday. So anybody who's been watching Tiger King, Joe Exotic's been all over the place. Joe, what happened when you missed Stock Watch Sunday?
I've had 2 boyfriends most of my life. I currently got legally married, thank God. It's finally legal in America.
Yeah.
I've had some kinky sex.
Oh.
I have tried drugs through the younger years of my life. I'm broke as shit.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we heard enough from Joe. I guess you get the picture what happens when you miss Stock Watch Sunday. So if you have not tuned in to Stock Watch Sunday before, if you have not subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to do that so you don't end up like Joe and be broke. So if you guys, again, are getting value out of this video, I certainly would appreciate a thumbs up. And let's get on to what we're looking at this week. So first of all, Monday, we have a lot of earnings going on this week. So we have a lot of earnings that are going on. Monday, it's not going to be anything too exciting. We have the smaller banks this week. Last week, we had the bigger banks. And this week, we have Ally on Monday, M&T, Equifax, Old National, a couple of those earnings that come out, and they're going to have the same sentiments. I would say that there's probably not going to be a whole lot of action on Monday, and I actually think that the overall market probably ends up pulling back after a huge run up over the entire week, really the last 2 weeks, right? It's been amazing rally, and I think we see some sort of a pullback. Now, I've talked previously this week about the market has reached the bottom, and I don't think that we revisit that bottom at all, but it's not going to be without its pullbacks, right? It's not going to go straight up. I don't think there's going to be this V pattern that everybody tries to keep saying it's going to happen. I do think that, like I said, we've reached the bottom and we're going to continue to go up, but it's still going to be very volatile. It's going to be very touch and go. And that's not going to be, or it's going to be even more evident this week as we go through these earnings. Let's see. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it, Garage Day Trader. Thanks a lot, Justin. Appreciate that, man. It says, congrats on the recent channel surge. Appreciate that. Let me go ahead and Joe, I thought you guys would like Joe tuning in tonight. Speaking of which, if you guys want to call in later on, we'll definitely have that feature for you. So if you guys do have a question that you would be interested in, or you would like to ask me via phone, you can certainly call in. I'll give you that number at the appropriate times. But let's go ahead and talk about Tuesday. Now, Tuesday is going to be a really big day for as far as earnings are concerned. It's going to be Netflix. So we've talked about at length at a couple of stay-at-home type plays, right? We talked about Amazon on this channel before. We talked about Zoom. We just talked about it just now. And we talked about Chewy. We've talked about McCormick. These are all kind of stay-at-home type plays that are going to Walmart, Costco. They're going to be good ones to get into because they are still open during all this mess. While everybody's being locked in their homes, these companies are keeping their doors open. Netflix, obviously, has gotten a lot more activity and no more evident than when we just shared some Tiger King references. So what's going on with Netflix? Well, Netflix has gone absolutely bonkers since all of this has happened. And so if we go and check out, I'm going to share my screen with you right now, and I'm going to show you here We Trade HQ. Now, if you have never been a part of the We Trade HQ family, I encourage you to come check us out. I actually run a daily mentorship for folks who are interested in learning how to invest and actively trade in the market. And this is where you would come to learn that. If you go to WeTradeHQ.com, the links are in the description. I'm actually offering 1 free month for anybody who would be interested in being part of the mentorship. I would highly encourage you to be there. There's some folks that are tuning in. I see Blade Runner and Alan, Bob, a couple of those other guys that are in here that are actually in my mentorship. They love being a part of the community that we're in, and it's not about just stock picking, right? It's not just, hey, let's follow all of Brad's trades. It's a community where you can learn and grow and celebrate each other's success. It's a great place to learn how to invest and trade in the stock market. So again, check the links down in the description below. I'm offering a free month. If you enter the code STOCKS, And if my WeTrade HQ admin could put that in the chat, I certainly would appreciate it. Stocks is going to be the promo code. So when you go to checkout, you'll get your free 30 days. I would love to see you there. So getting on to Netflix, they have after hours earnings on Tuesday, estimated at $187 per share. So I think they actually beat that. $5.74 billion in revenues is what's expected. I think they beat that as well. In my opinion, the usage has risen over the last several weeks as local governments requiring people to stay at home. And I would say that Netflix this isn't the top. I don't think Netflix is the top here, but I do say that I do think Monday it has a pretty decent pullback before we start to see these nice little earnings numbers that could potentially be coming out for Netflix. So if we zoom in here on Netflix, I would say we're looking at, from an active trading perspective, that I would say that about 394, 395 is probably going to be a good support there. So, and right now it's kind of fallen just below that 422 or 423 resistance. I think anywhere in that channel is probably going to be a pretty good entry. Now, obviously, we know that earnings are going to be extremely risky, right? And I talk about this every single Sunday. Earnings are risky. There's always, it's kind of a crapshoot when you're trying to play through earnings. But sometimes the risk is worth the reward. I think Netflix is worth the risk. I think they beat earnings. I think they crushed them. We've seen huge numbers from them. I mean, we've seen huge numbers from Disney too. Disney Plus, just announced 50 million subscribers to their streaming services. And so Netflix has also seen a huge surge. I think they beat those earnings, and I think they beat those expectations. And more importantly, I think the outlook for Netflix is going to be extraordinary because you have a lot of these other, Hollywood in general, they're all on hold. Nobody's recording, nobody's doing anything. And Netflix has pulled back a lot of their advertising dollars, and which has freed up a lot of cash too. So I think their free cash flow is going to be a factor here. And so I think the value of Netflix actually goes up. I would say it doesn't go up a ton, but maybe it goes back to that 445, 450 range we saw earlier last week or week before. And so I would say that, no, it was last week. Last week went all the way up to 450. So I think we do see 450 again if these earnings come out to be good. And I would expect, even if they miss earnings slightly, that it may come down, may not come down as much as everybody thinks. So let's come back and look at the chart here. And like I said, 395 seems to be a good entry point if we can see it bounce off of that support. And then if you can't somehow get down in there, somewhere within this channel may be a good spot for you, especially if we see this breakout over this resistance at 420, 422. If it breaks out above this and we can see a clear move of momentum over this resistance, especially after earnings, then I think Netflix makes a much stronger move going forward. And, with this Tiger King stuff going on, it's been pretty incredible to see the response. And I think a lot of it probably has to do with the fact that people, are bored, and this is just something that they kind of flock to. I'm wondering if we would have the same type of response on this show if we weren't stuck at home, right? But, this is something that we can all relate to, like how crazy is this? But it's worked for Netflix, right? And that's what happens with Netflix all the time. You see something that goes viral and people are just nonstop talking about it. We saw it with Stranger Things. We saw it with so many other, House of Cards and so many other shows that people just flock to. And so I think this is just another one. I think it's just been accelerated because of, that show. That's probably one big reason. Ozark's been another one. I mean, I have to catch up on the new Ozark season, so nobody spoil it for me. Scalia donated to my channel. Appreciate it. $10. You're a good guy. It's all for all the good info. I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for that. Christian, what's up, man? DJ, just welcome some more folks in here. Good to see you. Disney's all good. Yeah. What's up, Hope? Good to see you as well. So we got 82 people in here already. That's awesome. So yeah, if you guys give me a thumbs up, you're getting some value out of this. I certainly would appreciate it. A couple other things that I wanted to note. Coke, Chipotle, Interactive Brokers, and Snapchat also has earnings on Tuesday. I'm not really that big on them. I think the earnings that are going to come out are going to be pretty expected. I don't think there's going to be any surprises with those. They're probably all going to miss, with the exception of maybe Interactive Brokers. You can make the argument that Snapchat could potentially see an uptick in activity because of everybody being at home. I would say that, maybe that's true, but they also have a lot of things going on with their balance sheets and, advertising dollars and all that good stuff. So I would imagine that, Snapchat probably doesn't really move all that much. So those are the other earnings that are on Tuesday. Wednesday. All right. So this is the time of the live stream. Do I think Chipotle will be earnings? Yeah. So I do think I don't know. It's going to be anybody's guess if Chipotle beats earnings or not. Yes, they have, delivery services and they're still keeping their doors open, but not nearly as much as another, food chain that's on here. So we're going to get to that in a second. There's another food chain that has earnings, and I think that they blow everybody else out of the water. And I'll get to that in just a second, give my reasons for why. But Wednesday, another important earnings day, okay? And I lump these all in. They're not all on the same day, but I'm going to lump these in because the first domino to fall is going to be Delta. Delta has earnings on Wednesday after hours, if I'm not mistaken. Their estimated earnings is at negative 51. They're going to operate at a loss earnings per share at negative 51 cents per share. American Airlines is actually going to be on, we don't know about American Airlines yet. We are estimating that Friday is going to be their earnings on American Airlines. Their estimated earnings per share are going to be at a loss of $1.44. And again, we're tentative to Friday, which is April 24th. SouthWest estimated earnings at a loss of 15 cents per share on the 23rd. Now, you guys have heard me talk about these airline stocks at length on videos that I've put out during the week, and that I really do like Delta Airlines, and I think that anything below $24 a share is a steal, is a bargain. I would say, and we talked actually, American Airlines and SouthWest were my top three to watch. Of these, I would say SouthWest probably has the best balance sheet. They have the least amount of debt, but they're not quite as big as Delta. And I would say that Delta probably has the best outlook, and they do have more debt than SouthWest, but they have the revenue and the income. Well, they did. I'm sorry. They had the revenue and income to accommodate that. American Airlines is the only one that I have a lot of question marks about, but we'll see. I mean, it's not going to be pretty, but I think what's going to happen is that this is going to open it up for some opportunities to get in at a lower price, or if you're already looking at this and you bought in, like let's just say when Warren Buffett bought in, right? He bought in February 27th and lost 50% from there. If you're looking for opportunities to add to, and you truly see American Airlines or Delta or Southwest as a long-term investment, if you have a longer time horizon and you've been in this already for quite some time, I would say that the reaction here on earnings is probably going to be like everybody expects it to be. There's going to probably be some selling off, but what I want to look for is the outlook. How is there's really three questions that I want to add that need to be answered. How much cash are they burning through? How much cash is American Airlines and Delta and Southwest truly burning through? What do the balance sheets look like? We kind of have an idea, but we'll get a much clearer picture after these earnings. And what are the impacts the government aid gave them as far as liquidity is concerned? So these are all really key factors that I felt were going to be a really good questions to ask that we need to get answered. And depending on how they can answer them is how they will react. But again, I think that there's going to be some really good opportunities to add on the dips here. So, wait through earnings, see how the reaction is. If it falls and these questions are answered in a positive way, I would say that they're very much a buy, no matter what the price is. If they can answer these questions, if they're not burning through as much cash as everybody thinks they are, that's a good sign. If their balance sheets still look okay, and they can be overcome, if the debt can be overcome, then that's a good sign. What are the impacts the government aid as far as liquidity goes? How much cash do they have? And if they have a decent amount of cash, then I still say that that's very much a buy. If we can answer all these questions in a positive way, I would say all three of these are very much buys, no matter where the price is. Because if we look at it from a year from now, 2 years from now, what do you think American Airlines is going to be? Where do you think Delta is going to be once all this mess, people are allowed outside of their houses? Once we get through all this, because it will happen. Do we capitalize on the fear of others? And I say yes. So it's going to be a very important week for all those airline stocks, in my opinion. And I'm still bullish on them. I'm not saying that they're going to be bullish this week, but for somebody who's looking at these as investments, I would say, in my opinion, that Delta, American Airlines, and SouthWest are my top three, and I still stick by that. So no matter what the earnings show this week. So let's see here. Alan, appreciate you, man, for my beer when we met. Yeah, appreciate that, buddy. Thanks for the donation. I wish I made it rain dollars when someone donated. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm not doing any lap dances. I don't think so. What's up, guys? Yeah. So again, that's my take on all the airline stocks that come out this week. And again, Delta is on Wednesday, Southwest is on Thursday, and tentatively American Airlines will be on Friday. No official word on that, but that is going to be probably when they put out their earnings as far as American Airlines is concerned, if we follow the calendar. I don't know why they haven't come out with an official word yet, but I'm sure they'll make that official this week. But definitely something to keep in mind as far as all they are concerned. Now, and I brought the chart up for Delta. If you guys just want to take a quick look at it, I can certainly do that for you. So let me share my screen here with you, and I'll show you Delta here. So, I mean, it's obviously been pretty choppy. This is the daily chart here. Really no organization too much to speak of, but you can see that it's bottomed out around 22.30. And I've said over the last few days and even weeks that anything below $24 would be a buy for me. Closed right around 24.27 on Friday. So if it starts to bounce off of this low, this 22.30, 22.25, somewhere around there, I would say that's definitely a buy in my opinion. And, if people react negatively to these earnings reports, it only screams opportunity as far as I'm concerned. So that's how I'm going to be treating that. Okay. Moving on, Sam Adams. This is an interesting one. Sam Adams has earnings on the 22nd after hours. Earnings per share expected at $1.82. I think that they either meet this number or they slightly miss it. And there's a couple reasons for that. It's been interesting how many people have been drinking since they've been at home, right? And I know this is it doesn't have anything to do with the chart. It doesn't have anything to do with their fundamentals. We'll get to that in a second. But there's been a lot of more alcohol consumption since people have been locked up inside their homes. And I would say myself included. Who doesn't like a little day drinking? So, I think there's been a lot of that going on. And I think Sam Adams is definitely poised to capitalize off of this. They have cash in the bank, and that's really important. They have quite a few options as far as growth is concerned, with a bunch of cash in the bank, and their P/E ratios at 44.8, which is actually 3 times that of the average of the entire market, which is around 13. And so I think that this upcoming earnings, while the actual whether they miss or they don't, may not impact them as much as what we can hear from them and how they've been able to churn out sales since the people have been locked in their homes. I would say we'll probably get numbers that are a little bit premature because most people probably ended up getting locked up inside their houses until the end of March, as this earnings report reflects the entire first quarter from January to March to the end of March. So it'll be interesting to see if they can give us any kind of positive outlook as far as sales are concerned. And this kind of goes right into what I was saying about your Costco's, your Walmarts, and that sort of thing. Liquor stores are essential in a lot of states that are even, shelter in place. So I would say that people that are going out and they're getting their groceries, they're still going to liquor stores, they're still getting their alcohol. So Sam Adams could be poised to make a really nice move, even after it's done so already over the last couple of weeks. Look for this entry to possibly be right around $400. If this bounces off of this $400 support, I would say that it probably makes another move and tries to break through this resistance at 431, depending on what those earnings look like this week. And again, that'll be on the 22nd after hours. So, I'd be interested to get your guys' opinion on this. And if you're watching this, not live, but if you're watching this later on, I would say if you could leave me a comment, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that the adult beverage companies will actually turn out to do well? And I would say that, like I said, we'll see how it turns out as far as Sam Adams is concerned. But I think that, it's probably going to have the similar reaction to what we saw with, outlooks on Chewy, Walmart, Costco, Amazon, a lot of these other ones. I think that we'll see potential really good outlook as far as that's concerned. Let's see here. I think there's a play for baby supplies in the future. That's not a bad idea. 8 to 9 months from now. It's not a bad idea. I like where your head's at. Just checking in on you guys. I hope everyone has a green, fun week. Hope you do too. Music Bill, good to see you. Been a while, so good to have you here. I see some questions being asked, and I forgot to mention this. If you guys have any questions about specific tickers that you want me to answer within the chat, if you guys could give me some context. And I see that most of you guys are doing a really good job at this, but if you could, instead of just saying, what are your thoughts on an enter ticker, give me some context there. Why do you see value in it, so we can have a little bit more of an engaging conversation as far as that's concerned. But just wanted to make sure that I got that through to you guys and brought that back up. So sorry about that. Okay. So the last final stock that I'm watching, and then I'll get to your guys' questions, is going to be Domino's. Now, I saw somebody mention Chipotle. Could they be earnings? And they certainly could. They've been able to remain open, but I don't think they've been getting as much business as they probably would have had we not had to deal with the Rona situation, right? But Domino's, okay, even though there's a lot more people cooking at home right now, there's people at home that just can't do it. And Domino's is going to be very interesting to see how their earnings play out this week. As you know, this is another work from home stock that we've been talking about. And I think that they come out of this much better. And we look at the chart here and we can see, it came all the way down to this 272 low. And again, this is on the daily chart when the rest of the stock market came low too. And then you want to talk about V patterns. Domino's is definitely it. They have earnings that come out pre-market Thursday. Estimated earnings are $2.30 per share. I think they crushed them. They've been crushing them quarter after quarter. I don't think it's any different this time around. I think, and like I said, I talked about companies that stay open throughout this crisis that we're dealing with are going to come out on top. And I think Domino's, believe it or not, is going to be one of those companies that do. Their balance sheet is incredible. They have just really turned it around. If you guys recall, if you're old enough to remember, I'm probably dating myself here, but Domino's did not used to do well at all. And then they changed everything around. They revamped the recipes, and they just have a better all-around quality, good pizza. And so they've really just turned the entire company around. And before the market crashed, they were doing amazing. I mean, this is their previous earnings. Look how much this gapped up from 300 to 380 when they beat previous earnings. And then obviously we had the crash. I would say they beat earnings again. And I think they beat them handily. And so what would I consider a buy on this at this point in time? I would consider a buy any kind of break over 366. More importantly, I would say any kind of break over 380 is probably going to be a really nice move for Domino's. You probably could get a good 10, 15% out of Domino's if they end up beating earnings. And I think, like I said before, while playing over earnings is a really high risk, high reward type of deal, we look at the ones throughout the week that are going to, where the risk is worth the reward. And I think Domino's, in my opinion, is definitely one of those ones that is worth the risk. Obviously, if you're not comfortable trading something over earnings, I would never recommend anybody do that. But if you have the cash and the risk to be able to do something like this, I think that Domino's is definitely one to be. I personally will be holding Domino's overnight, just to put that out there. I'll be holding Domino's overnight as well as over earnings, I should say, as well as Netflix. Those are going to be two that I'm going to be holding over earnings this week. The other ones I still have yet to really kind of make a decision. Sometimes if if I don't hold through earnings, I'll just wait till earnings come out and then make my play. You could do that as well. If you're not comfortable holding them over earnings, then that's fine. Wait for the reaction and then capitalize on that if you're not comfortable doing that. So there's definitely some really good opportunities I feel here this week, and it's just going to be a giant week for the stock market. And it'll be very interesting to see how we start out on Monday and how everything ends on Friday. Be curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on that as well. And let me tune back in to you guys, see how everybody's doing. 115. Sweet. That's a record. So Blade Runner just said we have over 115 people in the live stream. That's actually a record for me for Stockwatch Sunday. So that's awesome. I really can't thank you guys enough. This has been an amazing journey over the last 4 weeks or so. My channel has just blown up. I've had month over month. This month has been by far my best ever on this channel in the 3 years I've been doing been on YouTube. It's been absolutely crazy. So thank you. I appreciate that. If you guys are getting value out of this, again, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And we're going to get into some of your questions. So if you guys would like to call in, if you're new to Stockwatch Sunday, if you've never been a part of this, I have a Stockwatch Sunday number. You guys are more than welcome to call in on. That's going to be 443-281-3763. Again, that's going to be 443-281-3763. I'll put the number in the chat as well if you guys want to call in. I would love to have you on. We've had a couple of people call in the past. I think we've been doing this for the last, 4 weeks or so? 4 weeks, I think. And so it's been pretty successful, I would say. 3763. We've had a couple people be really shy about it, and that's okay too. But, I'll be happy to answer the questions that you have on here. But 443-281-3763. And then while we're waiting for some calls, I'll say I had somebody for We Trade HQ admin. Thank you. Kyle Weber, take a look at TRNX, massive volume, maxed out AS and OS at 160 million, canceled reverse split. Wanted some opinions on the stock. Has traded over 1 billion shares in 2 days. What are your thoughts? Let me take a look at the chart here, TRNX. This one I have to say I'm not too familiar with. I did see some folks talking about it all over our social media, but I myself didn't take a close enough look at this to really form an opinion on it just yet, but let me take a look. So I do see it's a penny stock. Is this just a NASDAQ penny stock? Yeah, it was up 50% on Friday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten this out. I'm going to look at this on a 30-minute chart. So I'll bring it back over to We Trade HQ. So this is on the 30-minute chart over at the We Trade HQ site here. And I see, this is gapped up and had some massive volume. And you're absolutely right about this. So since March, this has really taken off. Is this, let me see here, electric utilities, Let's see here. What else do they got? What kind of news they got? So this is the nice thing about We Trade HQ is I can look through all of their filings. What do they have here? So they came out with the 8K on Friday. What's the 8K say? Must have been why they had a pretty decent move. Greeting, So it looks like they had some sort of acquisition. So this is probably why this moved. Here's what I would say about this. It has a really good share structure. And so with the volume that's come in, obviously it has some really strong moves. Look, I would say that it's probably going to try to at least fill this gap at least a little bit. Long term, could this be something that you invest in for a while? I don't know. That your guess is as good as mine, especially since this has gone up from 11 cents to as high as 50 cents. So it's about a 400% plus move in the last 3 weeks. I would say that this is probably going to wear out its welcome at some point, but at the very least, it's probably going to try to fill this gap all the way down to 27 cents. So if you're looking for a move up here, I would say wait for this to come down a little bit. So maybe around 30 cents flat, maybe around 28 before I would consider getting in. And even then, I would suggest managing your risk wisely. Don't throw the boat at this thing just because it's at 33 cents and you could start to imagine the potential for this going crazy. And what if this goes to $10 or something like that? I could turn, my $1,000 into who knows how much. When you start getting into your head as far as penny stocks are concerned and how much you can make, you start to forget about managing your risk. So what I would say is if you're looking at TRNX for potential play, I would say wait for some more, for this to pull back some more and scale yourself in. That way, if you're not taking the entire position that you wanted to take initially, you're at least protecting yourself a little bit by just scaling yourself in chunks at a time. Because if this starts to go south on you, you at least are only losing a partial amount of what you would have lost had you just gone all in on it. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you're managing your risk as far as that's concerned on TRNX, and I think you'll be okay. But yeah, I mean, I like the setup here. Setup looks great. I would just, like I said, be careful with that. Again, guys, waiting for some folks to call in. 443-281-3763. Yeah, that Baltimore. It is in the U.S. I'm in the Baltimore area, so would certainly appreciate it. Yeah, no problem, Kyle. I'm glad I was able to help. Thanks, Savard. I appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. Hit the thumbs up. Yes, absolutely. Okay, what else we got? Thomas Baker says, Brad, what do you think about ERI? Looking to get in around $10, $11. Let's look at ERI. I'm going to pull this up on the chart here. All right. Still waiting for some callers. So no callers just yet. Again, 443-281-3763. And let's see here. So you're looking to get in the El Dorado Resorts. This is another casino type play. I think absolutely that's going to be a really good entry point. And so what I would say with that is this is come down to the bottom. I would say the bottom is probably around 975. This is obviously moved up very well with the rest of the stock market, but I don't think it's going to keep going. I definitely think that we're going to see a dip before this starts to move again. I mean, as long as people are sticking around in their homes, we're not going to be able to see this continue to go up. So I would say that this brief move up would have been an opportunity for you to get out if you were at a loss, but I think there's going to be better opportunities down here. And I would say that you are correct. That price point, the target that you're looking to enter in at, I think it's a very good price point. I would definitely wait for it to come back down here, especially with it closing at $16.70 per share. So we do have a caller in here, and I would like to get to them real quick here. So welcome to the show. Who's this?
This is Ken from New York. How are you?
Hey, Ken. Good, man. How are you?
Good. I'm not going to talk about penny stock. I'm going to talk about a real blue chip stock.
Hey, all right. No problem.
Looks interesting. Blue Apron, which is APRN. Look, if you go on finviz.com, look at the percent of the float that's short, 44%, and it's basing. It had a big spike a few weeks ago, and I don't know why, but it did. Yeah. And it's just been basing. I wonder if there's any catalyst coming up in the future, like earnings or whatever. That looks interesting.
Yeah. So I appreciate the call. Ken, I always love you tuning in. Thanks for the support, buddy. I'll let you go. So Blue Apron is definitely, and you brought up some really good points. Blue Apron has definitely been one of those ones that's been on my radar as far as a stay-at-home type play is concerned. My thing is that I think they've been having some trouble keeping up with demand, and that's probably why they fizzled out. But I would say that they've held their gains pretty well. I mean, if you look at this, yes, it had one huge giant run. And I'll bring this back over to the chart, had one huge giant run all the way up to over $28 per share, and then it came back down and chilled out. But it's actually held those gains pretty solidly on the daily chart here. So we look at this, and when people started to realize that this was going to be a solid stay-at-home play, it went from $2 all the way up to $28 and has kind of settled out around here, around $11.50, $12 per share. This might sound crazy to some folks, and they're like, well, why doesn't this keep going up? Well, because I think the initial knee-jerk reaction was just that. If we look at where it's been settled out and consolidating at, it's still up, 500% from where it came from. So I think this initial move was a bit premature to be thinking about the market cap all the way up over $28 per share. Given the market cap and its price, I would say that this was definitely way too high. But I do think that there's still some promise here. We'll see how Apron's earnings come out, which I think is going to be later next month. And, make our assessments there. But I would say Blue Apron's definitely one you could certainly put in your long-term portfolio. I wouldn't suggest, throwing the boat at it because I think there's better stay-at-home plays other than Blue Apron. But this is definitely one to for sure keep on your radar and definitely on your watch list and see if we can't break above maybe around $14, $15. If we start to see a nice move up above that, I think we're going to be in good shape for a pretty good bullish move. But definitely Blue Apron is a good one. And the short interest is definitely there too. If you start to see this get squeezed out, I definitely would look at this to make a potential move. Again, like I said, if it breaks that $14, $15 range, the shorts could start to get squeezed out of this thing, and could make a really, really nice move, especially if they end up having pretty good earnings. So appreciate the call, Ken. Thanks so much. Love having people call in. Let's see here for David. Amazon, where does it end in a month? Hold on. Where does it end in a month and at the end of 2020? Great question. So Amazon's, this is something that I've been completely bullish on. When this came back down below $1,600 a share, as far as Amazon was concerned, I was screaming at people to buy this thing because it was just way too undervalued. And as far as Amazon's going to go from here, I still think that there's going to be some pullbacks here and there, but the demand for them, they're planning on hiring 150,000 employees by the end of May. Walmart's somewhere around that number as well, if I'm not mistaken. The demand for Amazon and for Walmart has been absolutely crazy. So I would say that Amazon probably ends up pushing close to $3,000 per share by the end of 2020. I know that sounds crazy, but I think those numbers are there, and I think that demand here supports that type of move if that continues, and especially if more people continue to stay in their homes. I think we see that move push even further. Carnival has another dip. Can you talk about Carnival? Yeah, we can definitely take a look at that. But I see a couple of other questions here. Hold on. They're moving here. Luna, great grind upward. Support level around 640 for entry. Bounced in the last month. Chuck's asking about Luna. Chuck's, good to see you, man. Always love having you in the mentorship and the live stream as well. Let me pull this up here on the chart and take a look at Luna, if I can get it to pull up, and I'll go ahead and look at some other questions that I might be able to have pulled here. I saw Chuck was also asking about Beyond Meat, so I'll answer that as I'm pulling this up. Walk into the supermarket and oh, it's not for Chuck. Somebody else is asking. Okay, no problem. So let me see here. So Luna, I'm going to pull it up on the daily here. I'm seeing Luna, and what was it again, Chuck? I'm sorry, man. I keep going back and forth. Let's see here. Support level around 640. I like that support level around 640. I like it a lot, actually. Yeah, I would say support's probably really good at 640 on Luna. I would wait for a pullback and then a bounce off of that. Don't just buy it because it touches that 640 mark. You want to see a confirmed bounce and then more upward movement from there. So, yeah, definitely keep an eye on that as far as that's concerned. And I see some more questions rolling in. Thanks, admin. Appreciate that. Walk into supermarket and meat section always empty. Beyond Meat is part of that refrigerated section. Ain't potential in the stock? No. I don't think Beyond Meat is there yet. I don't think their financials are there yet. They still have tons of debt. And while they might be moving off the shelves in Walmart and stuff like that, they had a lot of promise as far as McDonald's. They had a lot of promise as far as Dunkin' Donuts, a lot of your other drive-thrus. And while they might be experiencing still, while their doors might still be open, there's definitely been a pullback in consumption. I would say that's probably not going to be good for BYND. On top of all of that, put that aside, their financials are just not there yet. I'm not big on BYND just yet. People start being allowed out of their homes. They can go to restaurants and that sort of thing. They get more exposure to Beyond Meat, and perhaps maybe we'll see that. But I do like where your head's at as far as it coming off the shelves there. But I'm not big on Beyond Meat at all. Hey, Brad, I walked in the supermarket. Oh, no, sorry. I just started reading again. That was for Tony. So, yeah, sorry about that, Tony. Carnival announced opening in June. Buy now or wait for there to be another dip. So here's what I like about Carnival. Carnival did get a loan. I do not yet know the terms of the loan, so be on the lookout for a video as far as Carnival Cruises is concerned. There's a lot of developments with Carnival. I think there's going to be an opportunity for a dip. All I will say is just if you could be patient with me, I'm going to do a lot of research on that, and there will be a video coming out around Carnival Cruise Lines, as well as all the other cruises, probably Wednesday or Friday. So I think that there's definitely room for a dip, just to answer your question quickly, and they do have some pretty interesting developments. Them opening up in June, I don't think people are going to be starting to rush to get into a cruise or get on a vacation just because the cruise lines open back up in June. I think it's a little premature, in my opinion, and I don't think that anybody is going to be rushing to get it on a vacation anytime soon. So to answer your question, I would probably wait to get in on a dip as far as Carnival Cruise Lines is concerned, and be on the lookout for a video with more detail about that later on this week. All right, so we got another caller in here, and we got Christian. What's going on, Christian?
Oh, Cash here, baby. How'd you know it was me?
Gee, I don't know. Maybe because you're probably one of my closest friends. What's up?
Well, here's the thing. I feel like, number one, your YouTube family needs to know me. They probably need a little bit of cash in their life, so I just wanted to give them a shout out, give you a shout out, because these numbers look awesome. You keep going up, so congrats on that. But I did have a question.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, what's up?
So this week, it seems like when we get closer to positive news about the stay-at-home, things being lifted or numbers going down, those plays you were talking about, the stay-at-home plays, seem to be adversely affected. So when you look at the Amazons and the Netflix, if it looks like we're about to get out of the woods, those ones pull back. Do you think those are opportunities? Or how would you play that? That would be my question. How would you play that, and are those opportunities potentially for a dip buy?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, and if you guys, if anybody's been in my mentorship, we've actually talked about this. So I appreciate the call, Christian. Thanks for all the support, brother. I would say that, yeah, I think there are definitely good opportunities for dip buys, and here's why. Even when people are going to be allowed out of their homes and stay at home, or the shelter in place may be lifted in certain areas, they're not going to be lifted everywhere. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are still fearful of going out. Not only that, but I think a lot of people, especially in the workforce, are starting to realize how easy and efficient it's going to be to work at home. Now, this might have some adverse effects on some other companies, but we look at Zoom, and when I talked about Zoom last week, right? I talked about Zoom being a really good buy down here, that 116, 124 area, because even if people start going back to work, when we just talked about Goldman Sachs having 98% of their people working from home, what happens when they start to realize, hey, this is actually not such a bad thing, financially? We could be just as efficient. People can stay at home. We don't need to worry about, real estate. Any of the REIT companies might be in trouble as far as that's concerned. And so, that's why I'm saying there might be some other industries impacted by this, but I think that they're definitely going to be good dip buys. Amazon, the demand's not going away. That's for darn sure. I mean, we're seeing Alibaba starting to come back as well, even though people in China are out and about again for the most part. And so I think they're definitely going to be good potential dip buys. Now, I think people are just starting to realize the convenience of a lot of these stay-at-home plays, and I don't think they go away, especially when it comes to Zoom. I mean, Saturday Night Live was using Zoom, so just the exposure alone is going to keep them on the map. I don't think that they're going away anytime soon. As far as Zoom's concerned, I said that it's going to be $200 per share by the end of the year, and whether or not people are allowed out of their homes by then, I still think that number, I think we achieve that number before the end of 2020 as far as Zoom's concerned. So, 143. That's awesome. That's awesome. So we just blasted right through the Stockwatch Sunday record. So this is awesome. It's really incredible. I don't have any words, guys. So I appreciate the support. This is only the beginning, right? Love it. But that's going to do it for me, folks. If you guys are tuning in for the first time and you got value out of today's video or tonight's live stream, and if you've never been here before, I certainly would appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And one final thing, I just want to make sure that you guys got this as well. If you guys hit the join button, we've had some people joining into the Chaos Crew channel membership. So for $4.99 a month, you get my watch list every single day from an active trading standpoint. And then also, if you want to be a part of the mentorship where I go live with folks from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time, it's set up just like this, but it's on Zoom, conveniently enough. And, and I'm with folks all throughout the day in a private chat room as well on Discord. So not only do you get a live stream from me every day from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time, it's the most volatile and important part of the day in the stock market as far as I'm concerned. And so that's why I go live then. And then I'm with everybody throughout the day as well. And it's a great community part of. If you want free 30 days of that mentorship, make sure that you're entering the code STOCKS at checkout. The links are in the description. Please go check those out. Would love to see you guys there. Guys, thank you so much. This has been amazing. The support has been awesome. Channel's been blowing up. It's great to see. It's good to see. You know, it's been three long, hard years so far. But you know, I wouldn't trade it for a thing. I love what I do. This is my favorite time of the week, being able to interact with you guys, and talk to you guys all the time. It's what I love to do. So, you know, making an impact in people's lives, and just loving every day of it. So, thank you guys. As long as you're watching, I'll be making videos. And as always, folks, that's going to do it for me. I'll see you all before the bell. B. Smith is out. Have a good one, guys. See ya.